All right, it's 6 o'clock, so we'll begin. Thank you for joining us this evening for the Finney County Sheriff Forum, hosted by the Garden City Area Chamber of Commerce and the Chamber Government Affairs Committee. My name is Dr. Steve Carlin. I'm the chairperson for the Chamber's Government Affairs Committee, and I will serve as the moderator for tonight's event. Joining me to help keep track of time is Micah Bunch, the president of the Chamber of Commerce. Tonight, we welcome the following candidates vying for the position of Finney County Sheriff: Steve Martinez and Randy Ralston. Candidates, thank you for joining us this evening. The process for tonight's forum will begin with each candidate providing a 1-minute opening statement, followed by a question and answer session, and will conclude with each candidate having a 1-minute closing statement. The order of candidate introductions was drawn at random. Each candidate will be allowed 90 seconds to respond to each question, and this is a closed question forum, so no rebuttal questions or follow-up answers will be permitted. Micah, will you please play the sound that will play for the candidates when time has expired for their answer of a question? All right. Without further delay, let's begin tonight's program. We'll begin the opening statement section with Randy Ralston.
Thank you very much. Turn the mic on. I apologize for having to sit down, so I can't really contact in the back, but we have to be on the microphone here. So for some of you I know, some I don't. My name's Randy Ralston. I'm not from Garden City. I moved here in 1994, 95-ish to go to college, and I've been here ever since. So, you know, I'm married. My beautiful wife, Carrie, I told her I had to say that. I've been married for 28 years now. I have 2 children. My son, Brecken Ralston, is a police officer for the Garden City Police Department, and my daughter, Alyssa, runs Little Leaders, the early child center. My career, I just retired for 29 years with the Garden City Police Department. I retired as a captain with that. And my last assignment, I was in the internal affairs and PSO. I was in charge of hiring, recruiting, and training. And I'm also the GM of the Garden City Wind. That's what I'm doing right now. So thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
Good evening. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to express my interest in being your sheriff. I am Stephen Martinez, and I am currently the undersheriff of Finney County. I am married to Cammie Martinez and have twin daughters and 3 grandchildren. I am a lifelong resident of Garden City. After high school, I served for just over 3 years in the U.S. Army. I returned home and earned my degree in criminal justice from Garden City Community College. I began my career with the Sheriff's Office in February 1994 as a jailer. I have held positions as a patrol deputy, crime prevention deputy, investigator, DEA task force deputy, and as captain of patrol. I have given back to the community by serving on several boards: Real Men, Real Leaders, Finney County United Way, Finney County Economic Development Corporation, and Garden City Community College Board of Trustees, to name a few. With my experience within the Sheriff's Office, I believe I have the knowledge and understanding on how to operate and manage the different divisions within the Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates, for your opening statements. At this time, we will begin the question and answer portion of tonight's forum. As previously stated, each candidate will be allowed 90 seconds to respond to each question. We drew names at random and will begin with Steve Martinez. So let's begin. Question 1. Can you describe your background and experience in law enforcement that qualifies you to be sheriff?
Yeah, I think I covered most of that in my opening statement. But yeah, I started in 1994 as a jailer, transferred to patrol, then went into crime prevention deputy, and that's where I spend the majority of my time with the Sheriff's Office there. So from there I went to investigations, then went to the DEA Joint Task Force, and then from there I went back to crime prevention for a little while, and then became captain of patrol. So I think just working through those different divisions and things like that, that I believe just learning how each division works, working in most of them, that I have a good grasp on what it would take to run the Sheriff's Office.
Thank you. Randy?
Yeah, thank you. So I started out at the 1995. I was hired by the Garden City Community College Campus Police. I have to give them a shout out because they gave me my start. I went to the academy through that department. After I got back, I was hired by the Garden City Police Department, and as I said, I did 28 years there. I started out in the patrol division as a patrol officer, like most do. I was a field training officer. I did that for several years. I then got promoted to sergeant. During that time, I also worked the street gang unit. I was in charge of that unit, and I was a certified street gang expert. I did that for 12 years. I did get to work with Steve on that. We did a lot of that. I was a detective for several years, working mostly general crimes and gang crimes. And after that, I was promoted to sergeant then, and I went to what we then called the Community Response Division. There I was a bicycle officer. We handled gang investigations. I was the SWAT team leader for 9 years on the department. I had the luxury of doing that. I worked in internal affairs. Like I said, I did hiring, recruiting, and training, and also in internal affairs investigations. And I've been not anymore, I was the range master for the department for almost 15 years. I handled all firearms training, purchases, armoring, gunsmithing. I did that, and I got to build the new shooting range here, the new project that we did. So, thank you.
Thank you. So we'll alternate these questions, gentlemen. So Randy, you'll get to go first on this next one. So the current issues, mold, pipe issues, structural, et cetera, at the law enforcement center have forced the city to provide notice to terminate the contract with the county in order to vacate in 2025. As sheriff, how will you continue to maintain a strong working relationship with the GCPD, and how will you go about ensuring building maintenance at the LEC is made a priority in future years?
Yeah, and I lived that. I had an office that I had to leave every day at 1:30 because of the smell, and I had to come back after it left. So I unfortunately got to do that. I am aware of the PD vacating the premises. I am aware that they did offer the sheriff's office to go with them at their penny. They were going to pay for it. Why we didn't do that, I don't know. To go with them to get our people out of that environment. I understand. I don't want to abandon the jail. I understand people have to work there, but this is something that we're trying to now. This is going to make or break a sheriff. The next sheriff is this building project. You're talking, millions, up to $50 million in this project. We, have to collaborate and work together because that's extremely expensive, and I don't want the taxpayers to have to pay all that. So we need to find funding out there. There is grant funding. There's federal funding. We have federal agencies here. They're paying rent somewhere, So we need to all collaborate, whether that's with, the sheriff, the police, fire, EMS, the detention center, whatever. We need to collaborate to try to accomplish what needs to happen. These problems didn't just happen overnight. It's years of deferred maintenance and that, so we can't let that happen anymore. Someone needs to stand up and say enough's enough, and it needs to be fixed. And I'm glad we're doing that now. That's the direction we're going.
Thank you. Steve?
Yeah, I agree with Randy that just didn't happen overnight. As far as agreement with the police department, I believe it's just temporary until we figure out what we're going to do with the building, either renovate our existing building now or build a jail-only off-site somewhere else. So as far as still being able to keep the collaboration and the working with the police department, I think that's still going to happen whether they leave the building or not. We have a good working relationship with the police department. I speak to Chief Pruitt quite often on the issues of the building. This is something that we're both pushing to get things done. Our maintenance is overwhelmed right now, is why some things take a while to get fixed. They're shorthanded, and they take care of other buildings also. So we understand it's a problem, and as far as us being able to go with them, again, like I said, we can't move the jail. We have a kitchen that is going to have to work there also. So, I just really wouldn't feel right abandoning those other employees, and we vacate, and they say, why are you guys going and we have to stay? Because getting out there and farming out prisoners to other agencies will be very expensive.
Thank you. Steve, this will be your question. What measures will you implement to ensure transparency and accountability in law enforcement practices?
I would just keep the same ones we have in place. I mean, we're a very wide open agency. I mean, we have our deputies wear body cameras. We have people that come and talk to us all the time. The sheriff's door is always open for the community members to come in and talk and ask questions and find out what's going on. I would continue that. I feel I have a good relationship with the general public of Finney County. I believe I'm very approachable, and I would listen to their concerns, their issues that they have, and and by law, by statute and stuff, we are mandated to give up information and share information with the media and or other agencies that request it. So as far as strategy and stuff like that, we will just continue on the path that we have, that Sheriff Grover Craig, Kevin Baskew, Mike Warren, all those that come before me, and they taught me a great deal about that, being honest and things like that with the community, and I would carry that on.
Thank you. Randy?
Yeah, so in 21st century policing, one of the pillars of that is technology and social media. I feel like we can do better at that. We need to create a very active social media. That's how everybody gets their news today. We all know that. So we need to create a social media platform, a very strong one with all the social media, TikTok, Twitter, everything, or X now it's called. So that's important that we do that. Transparency is a must. If you're going to build trust with your community, you have to be transparent. Even when things are wrong, even when we make mistakes, you have to own that, and you have to promise and show the people that, yes, we were transparent. We made a mistake, and we're going to do better next time. But I really think transparency, I would like to see, our stats, our use of force stats, the community policing statistics. I think all that information would behoove the community to be able to look that up and see that on our website. I'd like a very active website where people can go and look at all that stuff. They can see the call load that we're handling, the complaints that we've received, everything that's going on in the community. So I think that's important.
Thank you. Randy, you'll go first on this one. Fentanyl continues to prey on and kill many that are not aware they are taking the drugs. As sheriff, how would you lead your department to combat this crisis? What resources would you use for both investigations as well as education?
There is again, in that realm, that's the hot topic right now, and it should be. There's a lot of money out there and a lot of organizations that are willing to get on board if we as a department are willing to take them on. There's all kinds of programs. I met with Live Well several times, in their task force that they've kind of started with fentanyl and opioids. We did have a very active drug task force at one time between the sheriff and the police, and they were very successful for a long time. And then as people retire, people leave, things like that, and we've never really, in my opinion, really put the effort forward that needed to get back into that. And I know we still have that task force, but I think we need to refocus and redirect towards that and get some hard chargers in there that are willing to go after. We're never going to stop it, but we can sure try to mitigate it and control it. And we need that because it is a real concern in our community right now with the fentanyl and the overdoses. And you'd be surprised how many happen that we don't even hear about because their EMS saves them or they were Narcaned and they're brought back. So it's a big problem. That's up there on the list of big problems right now.
Thank you. Steve?
Yes, that would, battling the fentanyl problem would be a top priority of mine. It is a community problem. I mean, it isn't just a law enforcement issue. We'll never be able to arrest our way out of this problem. So, yes, we would have to collaborate with all the other nonprofits or other agencies, service agencies in town to join us in battling this problem. The joint task force is still in operation. They had a search warrant not too long ago, so they are still pretty active. One of the things that hinders us there is that everybody's shorthanded. We're down a couple investigators, so drug investigations take a large amount of time, a large amount of resources, and then we have the other crimes that happen also that pull our investigators away from that. So I would work on collaborating again with other agencies, state and federal agencies, be willing to work with them, bring them into town and help us on these investigations. But again, it's a community problem that we all need to get around, not just law enforcement trying to arrest our way out of this.
Thank you. Steve, you'll go first on this one. What specific leadership qualities do you possess that make you suitable for this role? Please cite a specific example from your previous law enforcement experience where your leadership skills improved the jurisdiction you served.
My leadership qualities, again, just with the experience I've been to, and also several leadership trainings. I've been to the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Officers Seminar, and a specific example is sometimes it's hard to make the tough decisions that people don't like. So I would say dealing just with some personnel issues and things like that, where you're having an issue with somebody, but you're able to bring them in, talk to them, and put them on the right path, and encourage them also, not just discipline them, but give them opportunities and a path where they can improve themselves.
Thank you. Randy?
So, in my philosophy, leaders are born, they're not made. Some people have it, some people don't. Obviously, we've seen the people that are good managers, but not good leaders. I believe that wholehearted. So, being a good leader means at times being a good follower. It means being in the background and providing your people with what they need to do their job, not to be in front. Sometimes it requires you to lead from the front. You just have to know that. As far as an experience that I would say that I'm most proud of as a leader, there's a lot of them that come to my mind. I led the SWAT team for 9 years in some pretty intense situations. But the most that I'm most proud of is I had the ability in 2015, when Chief Utes became the chief, to create and command the Explorer program with the youth. It's been a tremendous thing for us. I've watched them kids grow from age 14 to now. 8 of those kids have or work for the Garden City Police Department right now, and 2 of them I know work for the Sheriff's Department. So I'm really proud of that. I feel like that's benefited our community the most from my leadership, is we're building good stewards in the community with our youth and moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What is your stance on the implementation of body cameras for law enforcement officers? How do you believe they impact transparency, accountability, and public trust? Randy, you get to go first.
Thank you. So when we got body cameras, and most cops in this room will attest that we didn't want them, and we despised them, and we felt like Big Brother was watching us all the time. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you polled most deputies and officers, they want the body cameras, because they've come to realize they save us more than they ever hurt us. Complaints are made all the time. I worked internal affairs. Complaints were made all the time. And I'm going to tell you, 99% of the time, they're frivolous complaints that had no merit. And I was able to pull up the body cam and show the complainant, tell me where this happened. Well, then you doctored the video or something. So they're a part of transparency. It is the world we live in today. They're not going away anytime soon, and I actually feel like they're a benefit to our organization.
Thank you. Steve?
I agree with a lot of what Randy said. I mean, it's pretty simple that wearing body cameras have exonerated deputies, officers more than they have hurt. So I think it's a very good tool. It is a tool to show transparency. It has body camera footage. Again, has saved our office several times from frivolous lawsuits and complaints on officers. So I would continue, to use those. I would never be an opponent of body cameras, and our vehicles are outfitted with video cameras that automatically turn on body cameras when they exit the car or turn on their lights and things like that. So I think it's a very, very useful tool, not only to, again, exonerate officers, but be able to have that transparency, whether we make a mistake, whether our officer was in the right, but it gives us a tool to go back and be able to teach our officers and our deputies on, after reviewing, like maybe, there was a different way maybe you could have handled the situation. So it's also a good tool for training deputies.
Thank you. Steve, how will you prioritize budget allocations within the Sheriff's Department? How do you plan to measure success and ensure that your goals are achieved?
Well, we are one of the largest budget in the county. What we do is we have a great finance officer. We have Captain Jeff Orball that handles our budget, and he does an excellent job. He briefs us quite often on where we're at with the budget, our planning process. We're really now starting to plan for the future, getting together in our staff meetings, having the different division heads express their needs on what they need to do their job efficiently, and then we formulate a plan on what we need, how we're going to get it, what time frame we're going to get it, and that is just very important to have somebody that understands those numbers and can keep you on track, and we have that at the Sheriff's Office.
Thank you. Randy?
So we're kind of, Steve and I are both stuck between a rock and a hard place because we don't get to decide how much money we get. Sheriff Warren don't get to decide how much money we get. We get the money, and then we have to spend it on what we think is appropriate and where we can go. We have a serious concern about pay right now for starting deputies. We are way behind the curve, and that needs addressed. But until our county commission decides that we have more money, or they're able to allocate more money or earmark that money, we have to be creative in our budgeting. I guarantee you, I was a part of the police department's budget for 10 years as a captain, and I got to be a part of a $12 million budget. And I can tell you there are ways and room and places to cut money to be able to reallocate it or earmark it or put it in another fund. That's going to take some work, obviously. And we as a command staff, the whole group, the undersheriff, everybody, we're going to have to work together to come up to see how we can where we can save, where we need to spend more to try to get where we're going, to address some of these needs that we need. Until we just get a blank check given to us. So for now, that's what we got to do. We got to be creative, and there's funding, there's collaboration with other organizations, there's grants available. I was hired under a grant back when I started, so I know there's options out there to try to help us also.
Thank you. Randy, you both have been in elected positions. Mr. Martinez previously on the Garden City Community College Board of Trustees, and Mr. Ralston, currently president of the USD 457 Board of Education. What high-profile issue or situation have you handled in your elected roles, and how can you apply the lessons learned if you are elected as sheriff?
Well, right now I'm knee-deep in the problem. As you know, with we're as a board are looking at grade reconfiguration, maybe shutting down schools, maybe repurposing schools, and that's a hot topic for people, and it really is, and hard decisions are going to have to be made, and I'm willing to make those. I just want to make sure they're the right decisions. So I feel like we're moving in the right direction as a board, slow playing it and taking our time to making sure that right decisions are made, and that's where I'm at. I'm kind of in the middle of my biggest struggle with the school board right now, other than the same as financing. You know, we want to pay our teachers more. They deserve better pay. Obviously, we're trying to do that. We've kind of set this long-term goal to try to get to in 3 years of where we want to be with a teacher salary, and I think we have a good plan for that. I think deferred maintenance it's an LEC. It's Groundhog Day all over again between the schools and the LEC on deferred maintenance. Here I am on the school board now, and I'm having to try to clean up mess that took years to deteriorate of deferred maintenance on some of these schools, and for whatever reason. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm in the middle of that right now. So, thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
Well, my biggest challenge when I was on the Board of Trustees at the college was, of course, the issues that we were having with the president at the time, and some of the issues that were raised at the time that some were before. I just happened to catch the part. I was the chairman when things really got really pushed moving forward, became very serious in nature. But you know, working with the other board members, taking advice from legal counsel, and weighing all our options, you know, I believe we came up with the best solution possible at the time and the time frame that we had to work with. And again, not all decisions are easy, not all are popular, and sometimes you have to make that unpopular decision, but you have to look at the big picture and what's better for that organization. Would happen to be the community college for me. What works best and the best possible answer for the community college and the community as a whole, even though it may be a difficult, unpopular decision.
Thank you. Steve, what is your vision for the sheriff's office over the next 4 years, and how will you measure your success?
The biggest is, of course, going to be the building. I mean, that is a major issue that probably will last longer than 40 years until it's completed. But my goal, my vision is to create an environment, working environment for our deputies and all the other staff that work there. So I've been on the ground floor of the planning process. I believe I know what each division needs. It's, you know, the main part is the jail. We have to build a better, more efficient, more functional jail, and just make a nice work environment where people enjoy coming to work and they don't have to worry about the physical aspect of the building. And so that would be a goal. Also, again, is hiring, recruiting and hiring. Again, we're behind on pay when you look at surrounding agencies. I know Sheriff Basque has worked on it. Sheriff Warren has worked on it. I would continue to work on that. I've been in the meetings, the budget meetings. I've been in the commissioners' meetings where it's a fight. Like Randy said, we don't get to say how much money we get, and the only thing we really have to follow from the county is their pay scale. So even though we would like to just give our people more money, we can't.
Thank you. Randy?
Yeah, I completely agree with Steve. The building is going to be a huge project. There's a lot of hands in that cookie jar, and there's going to be a lot of decisions made on that. I want to go a little deeper. You know, what I envision for the department is we need a family environment. That's big. We have to take care of these people. Do an extremely hard job, and it not only affects them, and it affects their families. So we need to focus on mental health for our employees. We need to focus on taking care of our employees and their families. I've seen the struggle. We've lost a lot of good deputies and officers over the years, not because they can't do the job, it's because the family can't continue to let them do the job. So that's a focus that we have to focus on. Community service, as I talked about, that's going to be big for us, and we have to continue that. Garden City supports its law enforcement. I can say that with pride. We are always treated well. The community always does what we need them to do for us. They help us when we need it. But it only takes one mistake, and we lose that trust, and we have to stay vigilant for that. Obviously, pay and compensation, we talked about that. That's a must. Money isn't everything. If people like where they work, they'll stay there for less money, but we still have to be competitive in the job market. And then training. We need to make sure our people are trained and able to handle the situations to keep us out of liability and keep people from getting hurt.
Thank you. Randy, as a public official, what ethical standards will you apply to your position, and what steps will you take to build public trust?
So, having done the career for as long as I have, that's all we have. As a law enforcement officer, all you have is your integrity. And once that's tarnished or once it's gone, you have nothing else in this profession. So it's important that we maintain that and that we hold ourselves to a higher standard. We always, and I learned from being in internal affairs and several lawsuits and that, we always judge ourselves harder than the community does. And that needs to stay that way. We need to judge ourselves and make sure we're policing ourselves and maintaining a high standard of integrity. Because once that's gone, it's gone, and we can't get it back, and it's very hard to get it back. So we have to do that like we talked about in the past with transparency, with being open and honest with people, and just being involved in the community.
Thank you. Steve?
Yeah, I would have to agree with a lot of what Randy said. We do hold ourselves to a higher standard. We need to. The public needs to be able to trust us, to be able to handle their situations in a professional manner. Again, that is one of the hardest parts also in running the sheriff's office and being in the position I'm in now as undersheriff, is that, you know, we do see a lot of, and I handle a lot of the personnel issues, and sometimes people make mistakes. They're a good person, they're good people, but they make mistakes, and then we have to make the right decision on whether we let them continue in their law enforcement career or whether we have to, part ways from them because of the integrity that we have to have, that the reputation that the sheriff's office has to maintain to be able to keep the public's trust, and for them to be able to call us when they need us, knowing that they're going to get the professional help, the quality of service that they deserve.
Thank you. Steve, what are your views on current use of force policies, and how will you ensure that deputies are trained in de-escalation techniques and use of force protocols?
We do have training programs. We do send our people to use of force training. So that's one of the main things that we do to be able to ensure that they know how to handle a situation that may come up, whether it's in the jail or on the street. I know a lot of our incidents like that happen up in the jail. So we are focusing on getting our people trained. We have 2 people right now are in use of force training right now, so they can come back and bring that back to the rest of the jail staff, and then also put patrol and other deputies through that deal. Because again, that's something that's very wide open in the public now. That's what people are looking for now, is to see how we handle situation. And we've always been taught to try to de-escalate, try to talk somebody down. There's no reason to go hands-on right at the moment you arrive to a situation. So we train our deputies, to assess the situation, talk to the people that are talking to in a polite manner. I mean, you want to treat people like you want to be treated, and I believe most of our deputies talk their way out of a situation that could have been worse.
Thank you. Randy?
My mic didn't want to turn on. What I envision, what needs to happen is, so there's a a school out there. It's called Force Science. They're world-renowned leaders in law enforcement use of force, and they will certify your people as experts. I would like to send 2 people there, get them certified as force experts. And also, if you get this training, they will come and testify in your behalf as an agency also. But we need that. We need some backing, and Steve's right. You know, de-escalation is the key. We obviously, but there is going to come a time when you can't de-escalate. Just since the dawn of time, people don't want to go to jail, and people are going to resist that or try to hurt others. So we need that. What I would like to do, once we implement a use of force report or a arrest resistance report, I would have my 2 experts who I have trained. I want a review of every force case that happens. And it's an internal review. We'll do it right on the spot. They'll get it. They'll review it. They'll forward it up, and yeah, it's good. Or maybe we need some training. That's what that does. Is when you do stuff like that, you identify training deficiencies 99% of the time. Not that we did anything terribly wrong. It's just we could have done it better. So I think a review process like that is in need, and trained people and de-escalation is key also.
Thank you. Randy, in 2016, there was a militia plot to kill many in our diverse community, in particular refugees. What have you done in the past to proactively build relationships that would prevent further incidents? And as a sheriff, what would you do to build or strengthen these relationships?
So fortunately, but unfortunately, when that happened, at the time, Chief Mike Utes was involved in that and with the relationships with that community, with the refugees and that. Through that, I got to watch him really build some tremendous relationships with the migrants there, the immigrants. And it was amazing. And luckily, because I got to go along with him, I've still maintained those relationships with them. So I feel like I have a good grasp on that with them. I've talked to them when I see them. They talk to me, and some of them have even contacted me and congratulated me running for sheriff. So I feel like I already have that relationship. I was fortunate to tag along with Chief Utes. He did a very good job at that, and that was one of his strengths, was being able to build relationships with the different cultures in our diversity in Garden City.
Thank you. Steve?
Yes, we are a very diverse community, and I was lucky enough to spend a lot of my career as a crime prevention deputy, which, you could also call a community engagement deputy. So I was always in the schools. I was always at social events, and we get invited to these different cultural events, and we try to make sure that we send our deputies there to build that relationship. I've attended many of those events, and you got to sit and think about that. A lot of times they come from places where police or law enforcement were the bad guys, and they didn't trust them. They didn't respect them, and I think we do a good job, both agencies, the Sheriff's Office and the Police Department, on building those relationships by getting them involved in their community, and showing them that we are there for them. It doesn't matter what ethnicity, where they came from, or anything like that. That they can trust law enforcement. We are the people that they can call when they need help, and we do that just by getting engaged them. That's something I liked about the crime prevention spot, is you dealt with people on a positive basis instead of always on a negative.
Thank you. Steve, how will you collaborate with other law enforcement agencies and community organizations to address crime and safety concerns?
I just collaborate just by getting involved. I mean, there's always organizations that have meetings, have seminars and things like that I would attend. I would have some of the other staff attend. That way we can hear their concerns. That's something we need to know. A lot of times, we can't work on an issue unless we know what the issue is, and by reaching out to those other agencies, by inviting them to come talk to us or attend in their things. One of the things I have been thinking about is maybe creating a citizen advisory council for the sheriff's office, on the sheriff's office side. I know the police department has one. There's different issues out in the county. There's different ordinances and things like that. So that may be something that we get the community involved in, get us involved in, where we're able to get together on a scheduled basis and be able to talk and come up with what they want out of law enforcement.
Thank you. Randy?
Can you repeat the question?
Absolutely. How will you collaborate with other law enforcement agencies and community organizations to address crime and safety concerns?
Got it. Yeah, so that's Garden City has this like triangle between Garden, Dodge, and Liberal. You know, it's the Bermuda Triangle. Our criminals go there, theirs come here. It's always been that way. It probably will always stay that way. Collaboration with other agencies is huge. We have to work together because, like I said, our criminals don't always just stay in Garden City. And we have those relationships. I believe that. They've been formed. Our past predecessors have done a good job of building those relationships. Now we just need to continue them. I want to go one step further. I have this vision that, you know, Garden City, Finney County, we're the hub of all that. Of you know, go to Menards on a Saturday and look at the parking lot. It's all out of town people. I envision that we can be the center of law enforcement in Western Kansas. We are already. When these towns, Syracuse, Jetmore, whatever needs help, they call us. And we help them, and so let's continue that and take it one step further. Let's think globally here. Let's become the training hub of Western Kansas. Let's make our department, you know, it shines already. Our agencies we're the best in Western Kansas. So let's put that out there to help these other agencies to train and get them better equipped, and we can join those. And there again, that's funds, that's money that we can share.
Thank you. Randy, how do you define community policing, and how do you plan to promote this initiative within the Sheriff's Department?
Community policing, the buzzword of the 90s, you know, and it's stayed for us that long. But really, officers and people, we've been doing community policing way before any of us were cops. You know, it's all about treating people with respect, doing your job, and involving the community in your organization and being a part of it. Because if they feel like they're a part of our organization, they will help us in times of need. I've witnessed it. You know, I learned that as a detective really fast, that you're not a successful detective unless you have informants and people that will talk to you. And that's how you build that. You have to be personal, you have to be approachable, and you have to have an open door policy. And you can still do your job. You know, you can write a speeding ticket to somebody and they can still respect what you've done when you're done. You know, it's about how you treated them, and they know that, well, you know, most people know I made a mistake and I'm going to own it. And but if you have those relationships, they will be a part of your department.
Thank you. Steve?
Well, everybody's seen in the news for the last several years of people's perspective of law enforcement nationwide. Like Randy said, people respect and like the police here. I would like to keep it that way. Again, one of my greatest assignments was as a crime prevention deputy and getting out there and dealing with people in a positive situation. I don't know how many times throughout the years I've had kids, now young adults, come up and run up and give me a hug, telling me, you know, I made an impact on their lives, or I helped them do this, I helped them through that. And I'd like to continue that, and that's one of the things I'd like to do with the Sheriff's Office is kind of beef up our crime prevention. We have one deputy now, Corporal Ashley Crockett, that does a great job. That she does a great job. Sometimes we have to tell her to take a breath because she's always on the move and getting involved in everything she can that is in community. So I would like to get her some help. Maybe put another deputy or a couple other deputies in there with her, because there are so many things that go on in this community that need law enforcement presence on a positive basis, and we just need more personnel to do a better job and just to increase that in community engagement.
Thank you. Steve, how do you plan to promote diversity and inclusion within the Sheriff's Department?
I think we already do a pretty good job of that. I mean, we have people from all different backgrounds working for us. You know, male, female. I think most of our jailers right now are probably female. So that, you know, that's something that we really don't. I want to say we go to try out and say, hey, we need more of these, we need more of this. It's just when people, you know, we try to recruit the best people possible, and it doesn't really matter what race, gender, or anything that is. We want the best people possible for these positions that we have, and I think we've done a pretty good job of that. These people come to us, you know, most of the time that we don't even have to go out looking. A lot of that stuff comes from just word of mouth from the people that already work for us. We see that they're getting their family members to apply. They're getting their friends to come and apply with us. You know, again, even, you know, we've talked about pay for a long time. Even though the pay isn't that great, they hear about the culture of the sheriff's office on how we do treat people, how people are inclusive in the sheriff's office, and they want to be a part of that.
Thank you. Randy?
So how you want your department that you run to be an image of your community. So we have the diverse community here and the diverse culture. So that's where we need to recruit from. If you want your department to be diverse and be, like I said, I want it to be a mirror image of our community. So we need to focus on recruiting locally and growing our own locally and building relationships locally. Sure, we're always going to hire the deputy that from you know, Hayes or wherever, Arizona. You're always going to get those outside applicants. But we'll be better served as an organization if we can recruit from within, that we grow our own, and that we recruit from our diverse community. That will give us our diversity. And I do agree with Steve. I think we do have a pretty diverse department right now. And you know, it's not anything that I don't think is alarming to me. I just think we need to continue it and do a little better job at recruiting locally.
Thank you. Randy, how will you address issues such as mental health crisis intervention and the treatment of nonviolent offenders?
So that's a big deal, and I know some of this is in the discussions now. But if we build a new jail or if we remodel the old jail, I think that needs to be a part of it. I think we need to encompass the mental health into that facility to deal with that. There's a lot of things, like when Centura Hospital closed down the 4th floor. You know, I put the burden on the departments here in law enforcement, and we need to focus on that. And people, you know, we as a society have finally realized after, I'd say probably the last 10 years, that mental health is a big deal, and it's real, and it's a real problem. And just putting people in jail is not going to solve that. So I feel like when we move forward with this new jail or whatever remodel, that we have to add that into that. We have to have a mental health component of that facility, and I think there again partnerships can be raised, you know, with Compass and other organizations to help facilitate that.
Thank you. Steve?
Yeah, that is a great issue facing our community. It's nationwide, is the mental health crisis. Most of the people, vast majority of the people that do get incarcerated has some kind of mental health issue, and with the planning, with the stages that we are in now, with either the building or renovation, that is in our plans. I mean, we have talked about that. We have talked to the other agencies like Compass, and would like to have some kind of agreement or some kind of collaboration with them, that if we do get this where we have mental health cell areas where they would be more of a, I guess, a soft type of environment where it doesn't agitate them very, very much, as far as just being in a place with just bars and a metal bed and stuff like that. We're going to try to help them with their their attitude and their mood as best we can. So that is in the plans of whether we renovate our existing building or we go to a new facility. Those things have already been discussed, and and if I'm elected as sheriff, I would advocate using the Kansas Sheriff's Association, to advocate to our legislators that we need mental health facilities out this way.
Thank you very much. So, gentlemen, I know you're going to be sad to hear this, but this will be our last question for tonight. So, Steve, I think it's your turn to go first. What is your stance on criminal justice reform, and what reforms do you believe are necessary within the sheriff's department?
I think the sheriff's office does a pretty good job with the criminal justice system already. As far as we do our jobs. There's always room for improvement. We do have to. We have to train our deputies to do the most thorough job possible, that they can give a case to the prosecutor, the county attorneys, so they can do their job. And so just with training on how we handle people, how we deal with people, we just feel like we already do a lot of that stuff. We can send people to training, and we can give more of a. I lost my train of thought, but I think we do a very good job, and we just have to keep training our deputies to do it. I don't see much reform that we have to deal with here in this community because of the relationship that we have with our community.
Thank you. Randy?
So, the way we police in 1980 and 1990, those days are gone. Unless we're willing to change, unless we're willing to move forward and be progressive, law enforcement is different today. I see a lot of retired officers here, a lot of current ones. It's different today than it was when we started in the 90s and in the 80s. If we continue to police in those ways, that's what gets people hurt, and that's where we fail. So, we have to adapt to 21st century policing and law enforcement. It's changed. It's not the same that it once was. We need to focus on building trust and policies and oversights and technology that we've talked about, and community policing, and, training and education, wellness and safety. Those are all topics that I'm going to ask every cop in this room 20 years ago, did we ever think about any of that? No, it was different. And if we continue down that road, we're not going to be progressive, and we're going to be behind the eight ball. So I think we need to adapt and start to grow more towards that 21st century policing model that we're in today.
Thank you. This concludes the question and answer session of tonight's forum. Candidates, we thank you for your time and willingness to be part of this event. Next, we will invite each candidate to provide a 1-minute closing statement. Mr. Ralston got to go first on the opening statements, so Steve, you'll get to go first for the closing statements.
All right. Finney County is my home, and I take great pride in serving and helping this community thrive. The Sheriff's Office is comprised of great people, and I take pride of being part of that team. My years spent in different divisions has prepared me to combat the current issues the Sheriff's Office and the community is facing. Each division plays a vital role, and my vision is to strengthen our investigators and patrol divisions to combat the fentanyl crisis. I want to ensure that all the people working for the Sheriff's Office feel supported and have the necessary tools and training needed to ensure officer safety. I believe through our community outreach and presence in the schools that we have made a positive impact on the youth of Finney County, and I plan to continue that. I care deeply about this community and that I will be here to listen to new ideas and issues that are brought forward in this ever-changing society.
Thank you. Randy?
This is a hard profession, and now more than ever. We've talked about that. I have the utmost respect and for people that don a badge and a gun every day or lock themselves in a jail cell to work. My passion is my strength, or some may say it's a weakness. but no one will ever question that with me. Our community is safer and stronger if we're together. Everybody agrees with that. No matter what language you speak, no matter what job you do, everybody has a voice, and they deserve that, to have a voice. That includes our employees as well, and anybody else that feels like they need to take ownership in the Finney County Sheriff's Office, and I think we can do that together.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes tonight's program. Please join me in thanking our candidates for their time and great answers. As a reminder, the primary election is set for Tuesday, August 6th, with advanced in-person voting taking place Monday, July 22nd through August 5th. We encourage the citizens of Garden City and Finney County to vote, and if you notice one of these around, this has the schedule for advanced voting. If you need some, I think there's some available. Thank you for coming out tonight, and the Chamber appreciates the opportunity to do this service for everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.